Here at Windsor, the late Queen has been laid to rest after a day of ceremony and sorrow in which the nation and the world bade farewell. As the state funeral began, King Charles followed the procession of his mother's coffin from Westminster Hall. The coffin was carried into Westminster Abbey for a service attended by 2,000 guests, including 500 foreign leaders, royals and dignitaries. All the generations together, the Queen's grand and great-grandchildren in solemn procession.
All who follow the Queen's example and inspiration of trust and faith in God can with her say, "We will meet again."
The funeral march echoed around central London as the coffin was accompanied on its final journey by members of the armed forces from the UK and Commonwealth. Around the country, people gathered in towns and cities to watch the funeral and pay their own respects.
A few of us were singing hymns along and the national anthem, just immensely proud to be British.
It's great how we all come together as a nation.
She'll never be forgotten, will she? Ever, ever.
Then on to Windsor and down the Long Walk. Crowds gathered to watch the Grenadier Guards accompany the late Queen to her last resting place. And the final glimpse of the Queen's coffin before she was buried in a private ceremony in St. George's Chapel here this evening. Good evening from inside the grounds of Windsor Castle, the final resting place of the late Queen. A private burial took place in St. George's Chapel this evening with Queen Elizabeth interred alongside her husband, the Duke of Edinburgh. It followed a service this afternoon here in honour of her life. Earlier, a day of the highest ceremony, not seen in this country for nearly 60 years, mixed with private sorrow as the state funeral was held in Westminster Abbey, the building in which Queen Elizabeth was married and crowned. King Charles, along with other members of the royal family, walked behind her coffin as it was taken into the Abbey from Westminster Hall, where it had been lying in state. Hundreds of dignitaries, including world leaders, joined members of the royal family and the public at the service.